Welcome back. Tonight, we're going to vibe code something a little bit different. I call it the Eisenhower Matrix to-do list. And essentially what we're going to do tonight is we're going to utilize Google Gemini to say, hey, build me a prompt for this Eisenhower Matrix to-do list and kind of describe it what you want to do. And then you're going to copy that here into stitch.withgoogle.com. And I've already taken the liberty and I've already created the prompt. I've already checked over the screens and they're kind of close. We got a little bug here. The no is not below the yes. We're going to have Claude Opus just fix that for us, right? We're not going to waste our time, just keep editing and editing this UI here. This is close enough. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take a screenshot here. We're going to go back to Gemini and tell it, write me a prompt for the Opus 4.6 model, right? Do all of these screens. We're going to do a Dwight Eisenhower Matrix to-do list. And it's actually pretty smart and it can kind of figure out like 95% of the way there. So I'm kind of interested to see how smart the AI talks to the other AI and can it explain exactly what we want these screens to do? Because I really didn't do anything besides give it these screenshots. So essentially what this app is going to do is if you put it in a new task, it's going to ask you, does anything happen if you don't do this task, right? And so if you don't have to do the task, it's like, hey, it doesn't move the needle. Are you kidding me? Let's not waste our time on it, okay? So if we need to do it, then the next thing it asks basically is, can someone else do this task? Can you delegate it? If the answer is yes, you can delegate it, it's going to ask you for the assignee description. Is it already a crisis mode? So the due date would be today, right? Or your other question, you can see this is not in the right spot, is no one else can do it. It's up to you. And then you have to check, is it a crisis? So if it's a crisis, then it's going to be the fires here at the top, right? Other than that, it's just deep work that you're going to do, or else it's delegated, right? So this is kind of your to-do list. So that's basically what the Dwight Eisenhower Matrix is all about, right? Trying to figure out if you even need to do something, if you need to delegate it, and then find out if it's top of your list or just normal. All right, so let's get started. I've already taken the time and created a prompt for us right here, and we're going to copy this out. But the first thing that we got to do is go into Android Studio and build our folder directory. So we're going to go here to new Flutter project, choose next. Okay, this has to be lowercase. We're going to do this in Android, by the way, just to test. All right, we're going to do it right here. And we're going to call this just, let's see, we'll call it this has to be lowercase, by the way. This is Flutter, Eisenhower Matrix. We'll just call it Eisenhower. Actually, we'll just call it Matrix. Okay. Oops. We'll call it that. All right, great. And then we hit the create. It's going to build all of our folders for us, as you can see right here. It's building everything. Great. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do this in terminal. Okay. Open up terminal, or that was made in our test directory. Okay. And then I've got something saved in here in my templates. And this is basically the dangerously skip permission prompt that we're going to prompt the CLI to do here. Okay, let's close this. All right, do a Command V in a Mac. Great. Okay, so there it goes. We've got Opus 4.6. This came out a few days ago. I've already shot one video on it. It was amazing, incredible. I did the GUI though. I didn't do the CLI. So this is the first time I'm doing the CLI. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go open that up again because I would have lost where we had copied that. So let's copy that prompt. So that's the prompt again, based off those pictures. Go back here. And one thing you're going to do is drag and drop those screenshot of those images. So that comes across as image 1. Now we're going to copy that prompt over, and we're going to hit go right there. So it's already in the folders, right? So it knows, hey, we're trying to build this for Android. We did not tell it local SQL. I don't think it should figure that out on its own. If we wanted to, we could have done it in Firebase. But why we do this, why not go ahead and just do this also, build an MVP. Oh, here we go. Actually, it's asking us one question. Oh, it is going to ask us. There we go. We'll do a SQLite on this. Okay, let's do that. And we're going to do Android only. There we go. Submit answers. So it did have a couple questions for us. Okay, so let's go back inside Google Stitch over here. And that's back over there. Let's go here. And let's go ahead and select these 4 screens, right? Now we'll go up to more, and let me show the other way that you can build something inside AI Studio. So while we're building that in Claude Code, let's take that same prompt, okay? Okay, let's say now write this prompt for AI Studio, okay? All right, so that's going to change that. It's going to write a prompt for AI Studio. Now, AI Studio is a little less robust than Claude Code Opus. It's a little quicker. It might be nice. It's free. It's within the Google Gemini environment. So for a lot of you that are already running Google Workspace, it'd be a nice little model to make utilize for like an MVP, minimal viable project. So here it is. It's got the prompt already for us. So let's go do this. There we go. Okay, hang on. I got to tell this. Don't tell it to do it in Flutter. Okay, so previously in the Claude Code 4.6, the Opus, I had told it to do it in Flutter. And so now it says framework is agnostic. So I didn't want to tell AI Studio what to write it in because I didn't give it the Flutter path. So I just want Flutter to only for the Claude Code Opus. Okay, so here we go. All right, let's write this prompt. Here we go. All right, it starts right there. We'll provide the picture. Oh boy. I've noticed this a lot inside Gemini. It's not that easy to copy half this thing. Okay, there we go. All right, let's do this. Command V, build. So there we go. If it was coding, you could see code editor. It'll start to show you how it writes all the code. All right, so now we've got our GUI interfaces. Now we've got the 2 different things running. Let's go ahead and check terminal here. Okay, so currently we're on build all 4 screens. I've noticed, I think Opus 4.6 is slightly slower than 4.5, but the quality is much, much better. I've noticed on Opus 4.6 that it thinks of things to add to the program that I did not think of. I'm interested in seeing if it caught that like yes, no, or it wasn't like back to back. If it says, oh, that's goofy, right? That's not right. The other day I wrote a squares for the NFL for the Super Bowl, NFL squares application. And it was smart enough to know if you didn't sell all the squares, right, not to let you apply the scores to the outside of the squares, right? so you had to do step 1 before step 2. I didn't tell it that. It just logically put all that together on its own, which I was like incredibly impressed. It wouldn't let you put the final scores in until you sold all the squares, right? So it wouldn't let you oversell the squares, like sell not more than 100. The logic and the reasoning in Opus 4.6 is just incredible. And the other thing too, the quality, it one-shotted it, right? So it was like perfect the first time. I didn't have to go debug it back and forth and banter. Right here, you can see that it found an error already, right? So it's going to fix the error. That's what I'm talking about, the debugging. It debugs itself so well. While we're doing that, let's go check in over here on the Google Chrome and see where we're at with this application that we're trying to do here. Look, see, that writes quick, right? And let's see how logically it does, okay? Does anything happen if you don't do this? No. And then it says, okay, so that's good. It says, are you kidding me? Let's not do this. Okay, great. So now let's, oh, that's cool. Wow, AI Studio did a nice job there. I didn't give it enough information on that logic. It put it all together. You know, all I told it was, hey, we're doing a Dwight Eisenhower Matrix here, to-do list. And that was nice. By the way, let's change this. Let's select this as a mobile preview. Okay, there we go. Does anything happen if you don't do this? We'll say yes. Okay, so now it's going to ask us, no, I'll do it, or yes, delegate. Wow, look at that. Would you look at that? I'm going to delegate this to my wife, Sherry. Let's see. Hank needs picked up. Okay. From soccer. All right. It's not a crisis. Let's see if we got like a date grid there. That's for Monday. There we go. Does it hit continue? There we go. It adds it down there. Okay. And so it already had one task here. We can, so right there, that's very, very nice. You know, look at that. It delegated to Sherry. Okay. Let me delete that. Marks it out for Sarah. Okay. We'll say I'm done with chapter 1. All right. Now let's add another item. Does anything happen if you don't do this? Yes. We get fired. Right. No, I'll do it. Patch servers. And this is a crisis. Okay. Okay. I would have preferred if it's a crisis, it's got due date of like right now. Right. So that's something we would change in the program. Okay. So right there's patch servers. There we go. This is going pretty well though. Let's see this. Does anything happen? Yes. Okay. Nope, I'll do it. It's not a crisis. We got till next Friday. Okay. Get milk. That should assign it to me. Yep. Puts it in the right area. There you go. Deep work. Get milk. Hey, that's pretty good. AI Studio was quick. That is a nice, MVP, minimal viable project. Now let's go ahead and check the CLI, how we're doing over here. Okay, so let's get out of that. Go over here. We got a prompt. Okay, so good. It's ready to run it. Okay, so let's see how it does it. I'll just say run it. Oh, it's trying to sell me $50 of free extra. Oh, there's a thing going on now. You get $50 of free extra. I'm already at $200, the max plan. Oh, we got an error. Okay, launch emulator. Okay, I think all that error was an emulator. So it should pop up that emulator for us. Let's see how that does. There it goes. Okay, it's loading the state. We'll see if it loads the new Flutter project or loads some old Flutter project. So what that was asking me about was free $50 extra usage. You got to turn on your extra usage. That's where you bill per token. I'm already on the max plan. I don't even use the $200 every month. Maybe I'll start using it now, but this is not pulling up in Flutter. Here, well, oh, there it goes, I think. So usually the first time it loads in the emulator, it's pretty slow. But by the second time, it loads pretty fast. But so let's see here. It's still trying to run it. Let's see if we can see the errors. Okay, task, running Gradle task. So that looks like there's a bash statement. Okay, it's waiting. It says success. All right. It says emulator, but it's still here. Why we're doing that? I mean, I could have gone the other way we could have done this is like gone into Android Studio, fired up the emulator in Device Manager right here, right? But since we're in the middle there, I'll let that finish firing. So, okay, so it's waiting for the task. Still nothing there. So the other way, like I said, we could have ran it here was back in Android Studio. You would have fired up the emulator, right? And then we would have went over to here. It would have shown the emulator, the Pixel 9 Pro, and then running devices. And we could have ran it right there. So let's see if this one runs it. If it doesn't, I'm going to just run it myself. That's kind of stuck there. So let's go try to run it this way. Let's go to Device Manager. Let's stop it and restart it. Okay, so that was running that emulator. Okay, so let's start it again right here. Now it's showing the emulator within in Android Studio. All right, now let's switch over to Pixel 9 Pro. I think the problem is that thing's off. Oh, there it goes. It was off. Okay, so I think it was just running in the background. Let's go ahead and see how this runs. Okay, what's on your mind? Okay, this is interesting. This is where I was telling you, it likes to think on its own. Starting out. All right, let's see what it says here. Fix patch servers. Okay. Start impact check. Okay, that's interesting. So that had us put in the title first. Yes, something does happen. We lose our servers, right? So by default, no. Okay, so now it didn't put the yes, no beside each other, right? Can someone else do this? No, nobody else can. Which is weird. AI Studio did this screen better, right? It worked the first time on AI Studio. This is not. It will let us put in here. Description is patch the servers, right? That's what we said. This is already a crisis. Okay. And we're going to do it today because you can't let the servers go, right? Okay. So it did that portion correctly, right? Now let's try this again. What's on your mind? I don't like that, right? Because we do it twice. It's redundant. So it's weird. The first time I used Opus 4.6, it was super advanced, right? Now, these aren't hard things to fix. We can go in there and say, take off the what's on your mind, right? That's easy. So let's go do that. Say, take off the what's on your mind question. All right, let's change this prompt here. And so we can fix this what's on your mind. Okay, so take off what's on your mind question, go right to the start impact check. All right. We'll go right there. And let's say move the no box right below the yes box on the delegation screen. So let's see if it's that smart. Okay. All right. So we're going to have to shut this down over here. Right. So let's stop this. I was already run the emulator. Okay. Okay. Device is running. Okay. So we're ready to hit play over here. Let's just go see when this tells us it's done. Okay. It says it's making 3 changes. There you go. You see the code working. Very nice. So overall, so my current stack now, I'm using Opus 4.5, or excuse me, Opus 4.6 in my stack. So my go-to for everything is now, I start everything out with Gemini and I say, hey, write a prompt for Google Stitch. I go to Google Stitch. I do the UI, and that's actually my most time-consuming part right now is creating the UI. I go then from the UI, and then I copy the UI over back to Google Gemini, and I say, write a prompt for Opus 4.6. Then I copy the images and that new prompt into Opus 4.6, and this is where I write my code, right? So if I'm doing something in production, it is in Opus 4.6. So, and then I host everything on the back end on Firebase. So that's my stack. That's my go-to. So here we go. It's launched it. Okay. So now we're going right into the Eisenhower Matrix. Let me make this a little larger for those of you at home. Okay. Okay. So we're going to hit the plus sign to start this off. Now it's asking us, what's the task? So let's see if that didn't ask it to do that, but okay. So we'll say get milk, which is this delegation, right? Yes, I get in trouble. Okay, get milk. All right, it says yes. Okay, this is my wife. Okay, so asking where to get milk. This is redundant. We don't need that twice, right? It's not a crisis. We just need to get milk. Hopefully, maybe she can pick that up tomorrow. It's not a crisis. Here we go. It's delegated. It did put the @Sherry over there, so that's good. Now let's try this again. What's the task? You know what? So let's go fix this. So if it's going to ask us what the task is, okay, don't ask us what the task is. Okay, so it's going to change that program. So now we got to go back here, see running device, we got to close it. So we're going to have to stop that. Okay. Device manager, there it is. I screwed up there. So go under device manager. This is also, by the way, on these 3 dots, this is where you cold boot it. So if you're having lots of problems with this emulator, you want to cold boot it. Okay. But there's lots of other features there too. You can do emulator like it's a wearable. So if you're doing something for your watch, but so we're going to want to start this up again. Okay. So let's get that fired up. Oh, it's got that. Let's see here. No issues found. Okay, so it's going to hot restart the running app. Let's see if it just does it on its own or if we have to stop it. Okay, so there it is. Okay, good. Hey, that's pretty nice. It's restarting the app by itself. Okay, it took us to the main screen. There you go. So now what will happen, right? Let's see if it does this first. Oh, that's pretty cool. So that was much neater than, right? I'll show you that again. That was kind of animated. So that was pretty slick. I think I showed a picture of a shredder or something like that, right? Does anything happen if you don't do this? This is where a lot of us fall into this trap. We do stuff for other people that we don't need to do, right? No's a complete sentence, right? So how many of us fall into that trap, right? Where it's like, it really doesn't move the needle, right? And so here we're like, first thing it asks us, does anything happen if you don't do this? No, nothing does. Doesn't move the needle. Are you kidding me? We're not wasting your time on this. That's genius, right? Free up part of my day already. Got the red X there, like wrong. Okay, cool. Okay, so now let's do a deep work. Okay, something happen if you don't do this. Yes. All right, so there it fixed the no, right? Can I delegate this? No. So now I'm going to do it, right? It still has server migration in there. Okay, so that was an example. Oh, I see. It's an EG. Okay, so this is just something I have to do. Let's see. We'll say write evaluations, right? Employee evaluations, right? It's not an emergency, but it could be, but not yet, right? So we got a due date, not a crisis. Okay, that's not due till the 20th. Okay, there's no assignee. Oh, the name. It took that name where we were on the front page and now it added it. This is test description. We really don't need that. Okay, so there we go. Right employee evaluations. Let's see if it goes in there. And it doesn't let us edit it to go into the, okay, so let's say we patch the servers. Did that put it? Yeah, there you go. Got a line through it, right? Let's say we didn't do it. It switched this. We had one. Let's look at the fires, deep work. We got one item delegated. So now all we got to do is go edit this. We really don't need the description if we already have the title, right? So let's go back and fix that. We don't need the description if we have the title, and that'll be about perfect. All right, so we don't need the description if we have the title. Let's see if it's smart enough. That was not very detailed, but let's see if it's smart enough to go figure that out, right? That's like, yeah, hey, I guess, if we're not going to utilize the description in that task list, why put it there? So let's see if it's smart enough to fix this. And at the same time, is it smart enough to restart Flutter like it did last time? So that's new. And in the past, I've always had to like restart Flutter myself. So this is all new, but I could see myself tweaking this and actually using this application because I don't know about you, but I like new productivity hacks. And then I like to use them for a while. Then I like to move on to the next shiny object. So this probably fits my category where it's like, oh, that would be kind of fun. Lately I've been messing around with a dumb phone, right? I've got this iPhone 16, right? And I find myself doom scrolling or just like going too deep on some articles that, it's not always vibe coding. It's just some worthless waste of time, right? So I shut it all off and I just created this, I downloaded this app called, it was a dumb phone app. And I think I'm going to write my own dumb phone app. And it's basically all I want to do is be able to use my camera, so when I'm filming my kids' soccer games or something like that, I want to be able to, listen to music. I want to be able to use my uh, the maps for the car, my 7-Eleven app, right? I got to use that. But nothing that I really waste my time on. So I just run it real simple, just real minimalist, just black and white. So, okay, so let's see if this is done here. Done. Description fields removed. Okay, so I don't know if it. Okay, so now let's see if it did it automatically. Is anything happened? Nope, 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 nope. It didn't restart in the emulator. Okay, so that's where I was talking about restart in emulator. And that's what we used to get, right? So the one time it did it correct, that time it didn't, right? So there it goes. Now, so that time I told it to restart in the emulator and it did. Okay, good. So now let's see if it fixes. Does anything happen if you don't? Yes. The description's still there. Okay, so the description's still there on the delegation screen. So I didn't give it very good instructions, but let's see if it can figure that out. All right. Oh, okay. Here, that's interesting. Oh, look at this. This says, hey, dude, I'm right. The emulator's wrong. Right? So it's rerunning the Flutter. That's pretty cool. See, that's where it's so smart. In the old system, I would have been stuck trying to figure that out myself. I would have been like, I got to do a cold boot on this thing. There we go. So it was smart enough to prove to me that it was right. It rebuilt it, restarted the emulator by itself. That's impressive, right? It would have never done that in the old days. Okay, so let's say we've got to, it's not a crisis. All we got to do is, we'll just say check email, right? Just keep it simple. We're not delegating. We're going to do that today, but it's not a crisis. Okay, there we go. Check email. Boom. We did that today. Just kind of green. Uncheck it. Doesn't do anything because there is no description. There we go. Hey, we got it all. That was pretty cool debugging session. You know, it wasn't too bad. I liked how it found that, hey, I'm right. The emulator's wrong, right? That's pretty cool. This, you know, it never stops surprising me how smart each model's getting. It's scary because in 12 months, what's this going to be like, right? I mean, the UI's getting better with that Google Stitch. We don't really need Figma anymore. Um, you know, and that's free. That's the best part there. And then, you know, the Gemini is kind of the interface between all this stuff. It's writing you're writing a prompt to tell it to write another prompt for something else, right? And it's writing pretty good prompts. You know, we're getting close. You know, we're putting in really terrible prompts at this point, just saying, hey, fix this, take this description off. It's fixing it, right? And then we're like, oh, you didn't fix it. And it's like, no, the emulator, I fixed it. Your emulator's off. He's like, oh, fine, I'll fix your emulator, right? I mean, this is like crazy. So anyhow, but hey, thanks for tuning in tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. As always, like and subscribe down below. All right. Good night. Bye-bye.